Welcome back. Now we've created a base character class. We're ready to move some members and methods into base character so that we can inherit those in the child classes or derived classes character and enemy. Now this is going to be a challenge for you. What you're going to do is move the members and methods into base character. Go ahead and leave tick in character and enemy. We're going to do something else when it comes to tick, but everything else you can move into the base character class. Now, make the methods public, but make the member variables protected. This is because we want these variables to be accessible from the child classes character and enemy. We want them to be able to access those variables since they do so in their source files. Once you do this, we're going to see what errors we get when we try to run the program and fix those and explain why we get them. So pause the video and do this now. Okay, so here's our base character header file. Let's start by going to character.h and taking these functions and moving them over. So we'll start with getWorldPause. I'll go ahead and copy that and paste it here in base character just under the constructor in the public section. Next, in character.h, we're going to skip the tick function. Again, we're going to do something else with the tick function, but we're going to take undo movement and get collision wreck, and we're going to copy those and paste them here in the public section for base character. Next, we're going to take all the private variables from character.h and copy these over to base character, only we're going to make a protected section. So why don't we go ahead and make a protected section here, and we'll paste all those variables in. So now that these have been moved into base character, we can remove them from the character class. So let's go ahead and remove the variables and remove all the functions except for tick and the constructor. Now, we've removed some things from the header file. Let's go into character.cpp and also remove the functions that we've taken out, undo movement and get collision wreck. Now, we're going to need these to be defined in base character. So we're going to copy them and then delete them, and then go into BaseCharacter.cpp and define them here. Now, the only thing we need to change, though, is that the function names need to be fully qualified with the base character class name, not character. So now these are defined here in base character. Now, you'll see that rectangle is not recognized. It says it's undefined. And if you go to BaseCharacter.h, you may have realized that we'll need to include raylib.h here, and if you didn't do that part, that's okay. Go ahead and add that to base character now. So we're going to include raylib.h, and now those types will be defined. Now the last thing we need to do is move some things out of the enemy class. Enemy has getWorldPause. It's now going to inherit that from base character, so we'll delete that. And the same goes for undo movement and get collision wreck, as well as all of these variables. So go ahead and remove these variables, go into enemy.cpp, and we're going to remove undo movement and get collision wreck from here. Now we've successfully moved our members and methods into base character. Okay, now I mentioned that we're going to see what errors we get when we attempt to run this. And you'll see that enemy.cpp is red because we have some errors here. These are some errors we're going to need to talk about. So if we go to run and start debugging, we'll see that we have some errors. And if we click show errors, at the top of our error list, we see that class enemy does not have any field named WorldPause. And the same goes for these other variables we're attempting to initialize in the member initializer list for the enemy constructor. So this is an important detail you need to understand. The enemy class inherits these variables from base character. Now, if these variables are not declared directly on the enemy class, we cannot initialize them here in the constructor. The constructor is only meant to initialize variables that belong specifically to the enemy class. That doesn't mean the enemy class does not inherit them. It does and can access them from within the class. And we'll see that we can access them from within the constructor body. We just can't initialize them in the initializer list. So let's go ahead and assign the appropriate values to these variables here in the constructor body. So first, we're going to set world pause to the value of the pause input parameter. We'll also set texture to idle texture, and we'll set idle also to idle texture, and we'll set run to run texture. And now we can remove the member initializer list from the enemy constructor, including the colon here. We can't forget that. And now if we go to run and start debugging, we now can successfully play our game. So in summary, we've moved some members and methods from the character and enemy classes into BaseCharacter, which is now the base class for those classes. We made the variables protected so that way we can access them from within the derived classes enemy and character. If we were to leave those members in a private section, we would not have access to them from the character or the enemy class. Great job! In the next video, we're going to learn about how to handle the tick function and move some of the parts in the tick function that are common to both the character and enemy class into BaseCharacter, and then have some unique functionality in the tick function in those derived child classes. I'll see you in the next video.